War breaks out in Germany in 1914. Paul Baumer and his classmates quickly enlist in the army to serve their fatherland. No sooner are they drafted than the first images from the battlefield show them the reality of war.
If I could describe this movie in one word, that one word would be brutal. You get to see the movie from the perspective of the troops and then also from the perspective of the men in charge that are trying to make decisions kind of on the macro sense of the war, whether that be a ceasefire or stopping. And you get to see a little bit of that political divide. And both parts are done well, and both parts are brutal in different ways.
I think one of the things this movie does really well is showing the contrast between the soldiers' lives and the high-ranking officers, because you see like all these people dying in this battlefield and they're up to here with mud and everything, but then it cuts to like the soldiers or the officers on the train, they're like sipping their tea and
Yeah, that was a really interesting cut between, guys just out there in the trenches, literally, and then guys in trains that are, nice and warm. And I guess they did kind of rough it a bit with day old croissants.
I'm sure somebody was shot for that.
Probably.
Yeah,
The
they also
chef was like,
contrast.
oh,
They contrast the space really well too. So, and for the majority of the time, the war scenes are taking places in trenches, and it feels
hmm
extremely claustrophobic. And then
Mhm.
most of the time, when it cuts to the upper brass, they are they have so much room it almost looks ridiculous. Like all the rooms are huge. Even when they get inside the train has a massive table in it. So
Yeah, you're right,
yeah.
because there's that scene with the warmonger general. He's having dinner with his underling or whatever, and they do that wide shot, and it's just this like 20-foot long table between them. And every he's drinking wine. Every time he drinks the wine, he like throws it on the ground. That's just
yeah,
opulence. That's just because they can.
he looks a little bit like Dr. Robotnik
Yes, he
from Sonic the
does.
He
Hedgehog.
did.
I guess it's kind of difficult for me to actually get a sense of like I feel for these guys if I don't know who they actually are. They only had that one scene when they were like dressing in their uniforms of like where everybody was clean and like you could see everybody's faces.
Mhm.
And once they're in the battlefield, it's like mud, gas masks, something is going on with their face. Like you can't really tell who these people are or who was killed. And I'm like, okay, which one of the friends, how many friends were left? Because and maybe that was making you feel that this is just chaos
Mhm.
and war is just disorganized in the trenches like this.
Yeah, they even had a scene where I guess they're patrolling these kind of boring areas, and you get to see them build a little camaraderie because they steal a goose, right? They cook it, and you could tell they're hungry
hmm
because they're eating this boiled goose, I guess.
Every day for lunch they eat boiled goose. So
'Cause I've never seen boiled goose before. I think that's what it was though.
Say the scene that really got to me was when Paul fell or was blown up into that crater, and the French soldier was about to shoot him,
hmm
but ended up getting knocked over from an explosion into the crater as well. And then they started fighting, and Paul ends up stabbing him, and then he runs away, and he's watching him. Then the realization that came over him: this is not just a blue uniform. This is a man. I
Mhm.
killed
Yeah.
somebody.
Right.
And he starts trying to help him at that. Well, he starts trying to kill him more
Yeah.
to make him stop, and then realizing what he's done, he's like, oh, now I need to help you. I don't need to kill you more, I need to help you. And just the chaos, just the inner struggle that he had was done really well.
hmm
Yeah, and you see that his his persona changes towards the end of the movie when they're sent off again. At the 11th hour, basically, they have 15 minutes until the armistice kicks in. So that warmonger general or whichever one he was sends him off again.
Yeah.
He's totally oblivious to it. Like he's like a killing machine now. At that point, he doesn't think about these are people anymore. These are just uniforms.
Yeah, because he
So
even turns around and grabs that kid, by the uniform, and just turns him around. He's like, all right, come this way.
Mhm.
Like you, because I mean, the kid's like brand new, is like symbolizing that's what was him when he first started, and he didn't know what was going on. He didn't know what to do. So all right, here you go. My last of my humanity is to drag you along with me into this 10th hour battle.
So I was just
Yeah.
looking at something kind of interesting. So towards the beginning of the film, when all the friends get together and they start marching towards the front, apparently the order that they're marching in is in the way that they die in the film, with Paul being at the last of the line of the friends.
I mean, this is obviously from a book, and it's been made in the 30s and the 70s, and now today. I kind of like when all the boys were together and they're all excited about going to war and everything. It kind of sparked my memory of Gone with the Wind, when all of the Confederate soldiers, like the younger generation, was like super excited to go and fight and everything. They were like glorifying it and making it just like a retreat, like a vacation or something like that. But yet they don't really fully understand that war is hell and they're what they're walking into. They don't understand that. To get to says this is picked by us because it's a best picture nominee. Kind of want to go through a couple of these. It's nominated for 9 total Oscars. One being music written, like a actual score, original score. I'm not a fan of the score. I mean, it has like 3 notes that are cool.
I wasn't wowed by
It's
it.
funny. That's how I would say it. 3 notes, but I loved it when those notes came on.
I was just about to
Yeah.
say, are we all
Yeah,
talking about the
exactly.
same one? The ones that go
Bum,
dun
bum,
dun
bum.
dun.
Yep.
Oh yeah,
Yep.
Yeah.
that's amazing, and it's
Cool
used
stuff.
all in the really perfect place for those too.
hmm
I did
But
like the random drum hits
yeah,
that didn't seem to be any reason for them, but
right. But then you had best sound, which maybe visual effects, possibly. Obviously, best picture, best adapted screenplay, best achievement in cinematography, which I thought the cinematography was pretty spot on for this movie. And production design. For
Ooh.
cinematography, there was this really cool shot of the tank going into the trench, and right when they went into the trench, the machine gun fire started happening, and it just like obliterated everybody in that trench.
oh yeah, right
And
down
I
the
was just
line.
like, "Holy cow, that is incredible!"
There's a really good so I watched this on Netflix. I
Mhm.
think that's like the official place to watch it. They have a making of that I highly recommend, and they go through how they built all because they rebuilt all these trenches. I think they went to the Czech Republic to do it on a big
Mhm.
airstrip, and they built
Wow.
hundreds of yards of trenches and getting these shots were massive, like as in like the amount of crew and production it took to do them.
I like watching making those, so I'll probably have to check it out sometime. All right, so we need to decide if we are going to stream it or skip it. So Kyle, what do you say?
I'm gonna say stream it.
John,
I'm gonna say stream it as well.
Rowan,
It's definitely a stream for me.
and I'm gonna say stream it as well. So that means we are all in agreement. You should watch All Quiet on the Western Front. It's available on Netflix. Check it out for one of the Best Picture nominees. This is actually wrapping up our Best Picture run that we've been doing because the Oscars are coming up, and we're gonna take a break while that's up. So we'll see you the next time we release another video. How about that?
Yeah. Cool. See you guys.
Auf Wiedersehen.
Auf Wiedersehen.